Hello, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti of Mutant Studios, and this is Making Comics and Art, episode 167. And of course, I am working on my own project, Witro. I got 3 pages left. This is page 26 of 28, so almost there. And today, I have with me Jeremy and Lisa Treece. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. So, yeah, I was on Global Frequency, just hanging out with the guys, and you showed up, and I actually saw a post somebody mentioned and your name in it, and I was like, oh, they got their book out. Their Kickstarter just started or something. Like I haven't seen anything online. Not that I'm looking, like I'm busy, I'm not looking anywhere. I was surprised that it was ending soon. And I was like, oh no, we gotta get them on. So,
yeah, we're in our last, I think, 19 hours now.
Yeah, so it ends tomorrow night, and you'll be on Pops Van Zandt to do a closeout show.
Yeah, actually, awesome. In the morning. It ends at 11.
Oh, it's the morning.
50 something in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Random.
So yeah, if you're watching this live or even after the show, and it's still relatively time. Go check out the Kickstarter. I have the link below. Yeah, we'll definitely be showing it off soon. Just want to mention that there's some people in the chat. We have Mo Biggs. Welcome, sir. And we have the art of Zoe Bones, a fellow goth. A friend of mine.
Nice.
So welcome, Zoe.
Hey guys.
And if you want to just jump right to the Kickstarter and show off page and all the art, and so we can get that going in a bit.
I will try to share my screen here.
Right. There we go.
So this is I'm So Goth, issue 2. As I said, we're in our last 19 hours, successfully funded. That's awesome. We're so excited. I'm So Goth is what we like to call a strange and darkly humorous story. It is a slice of life and death. It follows goth girl Colette in her small town as she is fighting to throw a killer party before the end of the world as she knows it, which is she has to get a job. So the kind of story that you're going to find here is very much the fantasy blended with reality kind of story, like Scott Pilgrim-esque, where there are these inserts of fight scenes and otherworldly things that make you question what's real and what's not. But we promise it's all real. We have some interior pages here, entering into Nutterman's, where the girls, Colette and Zen, are on their expedition for party supplies. And as we scroll through, you can see Colette is already looking uncomfortable. Things are getting intense. And here in this last panel, we introduce the Bogolite, who is activated by the blue light special. And now Colette has to safely navigate and escape the Bogolites as they go for the one thing that draws them.
It's the buy one get one sale.
So, our characters in the story, as we mentioned, our goth girl protagonist, Colette, her best friend, Zen, someone from her past, Raver Boy, which we get to see in issue 1 in a fantastic fight scene with Zen on a bus. Susan, who is Colette's very cool goth mom, and the designer of the Berry Bean Buddies, which we have a short for in issue 1, and we'll have another short for here in issue 2. Then one of our favorites,
Nice.
the cow. He's going to be with us to the very end. The Bogolites, the Nutter twins. They are employees at Nutterman's that give Colette a good scare because we all know that twins are creepy.
No offense to twins out there.
No, we love you because you're creepy.
Yeah.
William, who is actually Raver Boy's boyfriend and concerned because he doesn't know where he went. He's been missing in action since the end of issue 1. And then Officer Lambert, who has a history with Colette's mom. And you get to see that here in issue 2 and pull on some heartstrings a little bit with some family tragedy. We've got a bunch of different tiers available for PDFs, PDF packs if you need to pick up issue 1. You can also get just issue 1, the PDF and the physical. You get a pack of both. And then we bump up to the accessories pack where we add in cool stuff like a coffin sticker and a 4-pack of buttons. We actually passed 250 backers, so there's going to be a Berry Bean Buddies trading card set, actually the second set that's going to go out with the accessories pack as well. We're very excited about that. We've got sponsors and bookseller and layout pages. We've got one of these original covers left. We actually have a few spots that you can get drawn into the book left. I think there's 3 or 4. So yeah, a lot of fun things. Oh, and this 11 by 17 black and white variant cover of Colette is available. It's going out to someone who backs our campaign. It doesn't matter if you're a digital backer, physical tier, accessories, you are in the running to get this piece.
Yeah, we wanted to make it something that anybody could get.
We've unlocked some stretch goals, like the Berry Bean Buddies backup story and the trading cards and the very cool coffin bookmark. We're seeing if maybe we can get this variant cover in. That's the big hope.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Everybody watching. Yeah, and the art is gorgeous. Jeremy always kicks ass and does one work. And yeah, it looks like a pretty fun book.
Yeah, I'm hoping people like it.
Specials. We have Pop.
Hi, Pops.
Welcome, Pops.
What's going on, Pops?
We are going for the variant.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would like that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions about I'm So Goth, I am really happy to.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I remember like the first issue came out, and like that was a while ago, right? When you did the first issue for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago.
So why? Was it 2 years? Oh, it seems like a longer. I guess like recent times, everything's
Oh,
been out of whack.
well, that, and I think I've been developing this idea. I'm getting the echo. Hold on. Let me just try to do that. So how do I, is there a way to turn off the monitor? But I wouldn't be able to hear the questions.
We're
It's
good.
really
Lisa
distracting.
turned off her. It's not echoing now, as far as I hear.
All right.
She turned off her mic, so should be good.
You're good now.
Should be all right.
Yep.
Y'all can hear me? Okay, dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this, I've been working on this story for, it feels like forever. I've been working on these character developments for, I would say, the early 2000s. So this story's been really with me for that long. And so if people do think that it's been longer, I've been, I don't know, trying to reboot and trying to find the actual story for these characters that I've created. And it wasn't until, I would say, the end of the first book. And then, you know, you've got pandemic and everything like that, throwing everybody through a loop. And I think that just put everybody, I mean, anybody that I knew personally, just kind of out of sorts. And I've been trying to get back to what this story is and being able to do it in a way that I find is entertaining. And I find that, you know, everybody, no matter who you are, if you like dark and creepy things, that's a bonus, but you could be anybody and relate to this story, I feel, anyway. And so if people like you, Peter, that have been following me for, I don't know how long now, it seems like for a
long time. Yeah.
I can assume that if you followed my work or my trying to get this story off the ground, I think it seems like it's been forever since all this has happened.
Right. Yeah. I think I originally came across your work on DeviantArt years ago. I'm definitely not there much lately, but everybody's everywhere else, so too, you know.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get into the social media kind of game, you know, like I try my hardest, but I feel like I just can't give it the all I need to give it to make that as successful as I need it to be. So Lisa's been taking care of a lot of stuff for me, and it's been helping a lot with my anxieties and everything. It's like, even right now, I'm kind of a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not anybody's here's fault. It's just, I hate being on camera and everything.
Right. No, I get that, man. Like, but you know, it's like I've been doing this for years. I used to podcast. I was a co-host on a radio show. You know,
I think I was
in
on
fact, like,
I think I was on your podcast. A while back ago. I remember it was like through this internet phone thing, like right before podcasts were super huge, and it was kind of like a live stream kind of broadcast thing.
Yep. True. Was the site. Unfortunately, they erased all the episodes, not only my show, but the show at the, you know, from that time. I had like 100 episodes up there over a 4-year span. It's like, oh, that sucks.
Right.
You know, and that can't get them back. But well, you know, it was a moment in time.
Yeah. And,
but
you know,
we have go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
I was going to say we have Allison in the chat. Thanks for coming on. in the chat, and they're talking. Let's see. Hi, Jeremy and Lisa. My friend Rob speaks highly of you guys.
Well, thank you, friend Rob.
Hi, Allison.
I noticed my internet is like sucking. I'm getting bars. So if there's the delay longer than usual, then don't sweat it. It's what I experience usually. I'm out in Kentucky still, in just like a weird spot in town where like the internet isn't as strong as it could be. But we do our best. We do our best here.
Oh yeah, Sketchcraft Rob. I love Rob's work. Rob is an incredible artist in itself, and it is an honor to have somebody with such energy backing my art with good words. So that's awesome. I really appreciate Rob. Rob's dope.
Awesome. Yeah, like when Lisa was showing us that campaign, you were showing off, I guess, the sketch cards you got going on.
Oh yeah, these are the series 1. Well, 3 of them of the Berry Bean Buddies right here. It's got like stats and like some stuff on the back. But these are the things that you can get that were created by Colette's mom. And you can, I think I credit the artist. If not, I'm a horrible, horrible person. The artist is me, but it's fictionally, it's Colette's mom.
Right. Nah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm a nerd for all that kind of stuff. That in-universe, I guess, prop stuff. Like I like all the accessories and props and toys and all that kind of thing. So anytime I get to play with that stuff, I'm a happy creator.
Right. So what's the plan beyond issue 2 with your creation here?
I want, in the end game, I guess, I want 2 trade paperbacks to be collected into a set. So I'm looking, right now it's plotted at 12 issues, and I'm hoping to do collections of each, like 6 each. But I want to try to keep it as neat as possible, but I'm not necessarily sure if I'm going to add more story or not. And that's something that my brain can develop, and I need to rein back and try to really craft what this story is instead of all the different ideas thrown into this thing, which I really want to do because my ADHD just says that that's a fantastic playground. But I have 2 volumes, I guess, planned out for here, and I have dreams of having like little figures and statues and that kind of stuff of like Colette, at least, in the very least. But there are some characters that are going to come that I want to make plushies of, and those kind of cool little odds and ends for the universe and that IP, which I think are going to be really fun and cute. And actually, I have a tiny little Colette prototype that I sculpted, and it's going to be part of, when I get around to doing it, it's part of a crisis hour like blind box of our characters like Clawberry and the Arborian from Fearsome. And here is the prototype of a tiny little chibi Colette that I sculpted and cast. And it's pretty cool. And I got to make a cast of that mold and spray paint them and try to paint them. There's a little Arborian right there.
Oh, cool. He looks dope.
He lives on my desk.
Here's a little Clawberry prototype. And then the big Clawberry is right here.
Funny.
So yeah, we have ideas of making some toys and stuff like that too. So hopefully everybody can enjoy it, and I'll be able to let myself or allow myself to make some cool stuff.
Yeah. It's. I know, like your most books, usually range around 5,000. I've seen lately, for a single issue, like as a goal. And yours is a little bit higher at 9,000, but I am just really happy to see a lot more crowdfunders hitting the 10,000 mark and passing it. And really, because I know what it takes to what goes into an issue, all the work,
Yeah.
and all the thought. So you had a thought. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, you're good. I was agreeing. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and especially if you have bigger plans than just a couple of issues or whatever, like you're not just a fly by night creator. You have serious thoughts on the story and where you're taking it and how you're going to develop it and all that. And I'm the way. It's like I don't plan to just do one issue. It's like it's a whole history I'll be creating.
It really is an obsession. If I weren't allowed to do this, I probably would go crazy trying to figure out how to do this. It's something that I need to get out of my head, and I just hope I hoped before this campaign that a lot of people agreed with that idea and wanted or were interested in it. And I hope they stick around for the whole thing, because it's like they don't know what's coming, and I'm really excited to really get to the meat and potatoes of the story and see what people's reactions are, because I love the story so much and want to give it as much of me as I can.
Yeah. So those watching, if you want to really support creators who do excellent work and putting together a whole host of books, not only do you do this book, but you got other projects in the works and already out that you can talk about and get into that people should also be checking out.
Yeah, I have a couple copies here. This book right here is called Worth. And it was when I was working this 9-to-5 job at a bakery and feeling like I couldn't do anything I wanted to creatively. And so it's just like a sketch diary of my feelings of what it's like to work for somebody else and give all of your effort, and then really try to balance that with a family life and trying to support that family and not being able to do that creatively. So it delves into a little bit about what your worth is as a creative, as an artist, and what kind of mindset, I guess, you get put in by society versus yourself trying to figure out what your life is really going to be creatively, or are you just going to go to your 9-to-5 and try to, I guess, slave through life while you pay your bills? And I think that's something that every creator can, resonate with. And a lot of people requested that I printed it, so I made a print book of it, and I think it's been received pretty well. I've got some quotes on the back here. Here's the back, and it says, as much a heartbreakingly honest look at what it means to be a creator as a condemnation of capitalistic society determined to destroy your soul. It's hard to say I loved it given the subject matter, but it spoke to me at a visceral and primal level. That's Russell Nolte. And that's the kind of book it is.
Right. Yeah. It's like I know my own experience. Like, I didn't jump into comics right after school. I got a 9-to-5 Monday through Friday job, and I don't really have a problem with a day job and making a living doing whatever for somebody else. But once I got into comics, I really committed myself and took it seriously. And the world works against you in a sense,
It really does, yeah.
It's like, yeah, the government laughs at you. If you try to buy a house, they laugh at you. Anything you want to do. But it's like, I love it too damn much. It's like through the struggles, through the pain, whatever, I'll do this for the rest of my life, and it is really rewarding. Even if you're not making $1 million at the end of the year,
Yeah. That's really all I want. Is I want to be able to sustain my humble life in Flint, Michigan, and just to be able to chill and do my work. And if people like it and they send me messages after supporting the work that I do as an artist, telling me that it benefited them some way, or they just love the character so much, or related to it, or it spoke to them, or whatever excuse they had to want to love and collect it all and read it and inspire me to keep going. That
Right.
energy right there, that's what I feed off the most. Like, money's one thing, but if I didn't have the other energy from the people that are trying to be excited about this, I don't think I'd have done issue 2. I don't think I would have been there. I think I would have let that darkness from Worth consume me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, like, support means a lot. It's like, one of the ways is by, like you were mentioning before, using social media, but even just, like, not doing all that, because everybody has a different way of working. And I hear often that, if I could quit social media, I would. And, like, I do that at times. I take a break from social media because I want to focus on my skills and pumping those up. And it's like you need to, like, just drop everything else almost to up your skills and focus on learning new skills and all that jazz. But it's like every time I come back, it's like the community just comes around again, and you get into conversations with them, and it's like, oh yeah, I really love what you're doing. It's like you really make a difference. I'm inspired by just like you working so hard, and it's like motivation. I hear inspiration, influence, all these things from all these people, and it's definitely what fuels my insanity.
Right. Yeah, I think about it as an obsession, like, because I will redraw and redraw and redraw something. I will erase a bazillion times, and this is my blue line too. So, like, it's even worse because, like, you're supposed to be as free as you want with the blue lines. But I'll erase them until I think they're perfect. And it's that obsession that keeps me going forward, but it's that energy from that support that kind of fuels that vehicle of the obsession that gets all this stuff done. And I think the social media, like you were saying, like, if people could quit, they would, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't hate social media but I just feel like I'm really bad at it.
Well, it's another one of them skills, and I hear you. It's fun. It's funny. Like people ask, like, what DC or Marvel character do you relate to the most? And I usually say like Batman and Iron Man, because they both got the same thing going on. They're both freaking obsessed doing what they do, and like they'll be working through the night on some gizmo or whatever, and then fighting crime and afterwards, and up all hours, and and yeah, it's what I do.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. I try. Like I used to have these all-nighters that would last sometimes up to 4 days, and I just can't. I can't pull that stuff anymore. I'm getting old. I'm getting too old for that.
Yeah.
But I
But
could not
it's
be
like
Batman.
even with a realistic schedule, which I try to do that too nowadays. Like I'm not 20 or 30 or whatever anymore. All-nighters for me really wipe me out for the day after, but sometimes you got to do like like I am doing my own project, but I'm still working for other people in this field. I'm an anchor for other people, and sometimes deadlines pop up, and you just got to get the thing done and make it happen. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, those deadlines are no joke. I don't necessarily know if I could be in that position again. I did work for publishers for a while there, and I am not good with that environment at all. I don't know how you guys do that. Try to hit those monthly titles and stuff like that. Like, ooh, that's rough. I am not built that way.
Monthly is rough, and
yeah.
I hope to get there with my book one day, but I'm not like, that's not going to be the first stage or stage 3 for that matter.
Right?
I'll eventually.
I can't.
I want to do my book on a regular basis. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can commit with being on the spectrum and taking all the things to an account that all the obstacles that I have. I think committing to maybe quarterly releasing a book is very fair. I don't think I could do monthly. Like that would kill me. Like I would try, like if I were put in that position, but I don't think I would be able to.
So me and Zoe are accountability buddies, and we get together weekdays for a couple of hours and just like, what are you up to? What are you working on? What are you trying to get done this week? That kind of thing. And she's an amazing artist, and one of the funny terms we came up with is burn through the pain.
Get it? Work through it.
Make it happen. We are kind of screwed your chemical regularity if you want to make it. Yes, and we got more people showing up. Allison going, I got your back, Pete. I appreciate everybody who's got my back. Definitely. And Brianna's here. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome, one and all those commenting and those just watching. Appreciate it. And I got the link to your campaign. If everybody looks below the video, it's right there. Go check out their campaign page. Pledge. If you don't pledge, share. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, anything. I appreciate it all. Like even just saying, hey, that's cool. Like I love that. Thank you.
So artistically, like your style has changed and evolved throughout the years.
Yeah.
You want to talk on that? Like, what's influenced
sure.
you?
Well, I think one of my big main inspirations has always been animation. I think I chose comics out of necessity for my inability to really focus and give myself to how tedious animation could be. At a very young age, I realized that that was not for me. And then an uncle of mine uh, introduced me into comics, and that just blew my mind way open. I was just like, okay, so these keyframes are put in sequential order, and I can do this.
Right.
And then so I fell in love with comics. And one of my first inspirations, really, that lit my fire during the '90s was Joe Madureira. His stuff was it blew up. Like that was early, like the same kind of fervor that Jim Lee had on X-Men. When Madureira came on X-Men, it just kind of blew up and pulled me in further because of my love of animation. And that was a very good, I guess, starting point for my love of the more cartoony, animated feeling comics. And so I followed then people like Humberto Ramos, Chris Bachalo. You've got little later on, I started getting more texturally influenced by people like Arthur Adams and Bernie Wrightson, and just trying to figure out a good balance of this fine, articulate illustration that looks like it was hand engraved into brass and then, you know, did a like lithograph of on every page and panel versus something that's super open and colorful and poppy, because a lot of life is dark and kind of dreary. I don't want to seem to like pull out a brand goth card or something, but it's the world is the world, and I feel like everybody just needs a little bit of that color like animation gives you. Doesn't matter what that animation is, but wow. Yeah, that's kind of where my inspiration set. And then from then you get these people like, you know, Scotty Young, LaShawn Thomas, people in my head like Jonan Vasquez and Derek Hunter for me during his Pirate Club days. Even now working at Image with his Pretty Violent title, is like he's never let me down with that style. And all those people are, I don't know.
Fantastic. That's, you know, it's like definitely like Joe Mad. You know, I watched him like his career blossom. Like early on, he was his issues of X-Men, and I almost got the feeling like, you know, there was no internet when like you met up with people at conventions. Like, you know, that's where you connected with others. But Joe Mad was doing X-Men, and like, okay, that's a hot title. They got to think something really good of this guy. But I don't think, you know, anybody was setting off fireworks for him back in the early days of him on X-Men, until his style really evolved and really got chunky and really, you know, blew the socks off of a lot of people. Lost Lisa.
Booted.
But yeah, it's like, you know, as you mentioned, Bernie. There you go.
Welcome back.
Bernie Wrightson was definitely an influence for me, being an anchor. Yes.
Yeah.
First time caller. No. But yeah, you know, Art Adams, man, the way he does cute, but it's also like heavily detailed, and especially his newer work is more and more insane. Is just phenomenal. I became aware of something recently, and I found out. I don't know if you're a fan of John Byrne at all, but he's doing like unauthorized editions of X-Men, like continuing from the Dark Phoenix saga, but as if she didn't die. I just always loved looking at his pencils. Like I got the opportunity to go up at Marvel and DC back in the 90s, and I would get pencil scans of John Byrne while the book was coming out, and it was such a treat, and just learned so much by looking at people's barely finished work as opposed to the polished and colored version. Yeah. Have you ever been to conventions and like just gone to art dealers booths and looked around, that sort of thing?
And just study other people's art? No, I haven't done that because I feel like it's a I probably should. It's kind of like a good window shopping kind of thing, but I always feel like I don't have enough money to even step in that arena, to even look and like be afraid to ask for some white gloves to touch some of these pieces because they're so expensive.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily an art collector like my brother is, but he has a little more money than I do. But yeah, I just it's more window shopping for me, but just it clues you in, like, because like I've seen some like Mike Mignola or Hellboy pages, and you see the finished comic and everything is jet black. But if you see the original artwork, it almost looks like wash. It's because he was probably just doing it really fast. He didn't care. You can scan stuff and make it super dark and make it exactly what you want nowadays. But that's a lot of what's going on in my mind.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Like, I still want to go down to Ohio and go check out like all the Bill Watterson stuff at
oh man,
is it the college? They have like an art thing there at the college, and you can go and check out all the originals that Bill Watterson donated. And I just want to go look at that stuff. That stuff is gonna I'm inspired by that, but I feel like if I look at that original art, I'm done. I'm toast. That's my life, because like Bill Watterson and Charles Schultz, like they're huge. Also inspirations for me outside of regular comic books or American comic books. I don't mean to say regular.
Right. Yeah, if anybody listening doesn't know Bill Watterson, that's Cabos. I can't talk today.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes. That strip, just amazing. Not only the characters, the story, but the artwork is just phenomenal. Lots of comic book artists love his work and his style, and it's that, like, I can imagine him as doing like real regular comics, like such an awesome style.
And I think what draws everybody to it is how confident it is. Like, it's such strong work. The brush work, the fine hatching, and the watercolor work, it's gorgeous, and it's almost perfect. Like, it's hard to see a mistake, and that's like mythical. And that's something that you aspire to, like, just like, I imagine on a sleepy day, Bill Watterson just sneezes, and it's like the best sequential you'll ever see.
Well, I've noticed the advancement in your work, and you're playing a lot more color and even texture within your pages. and it's looking so good, and it's so playful, and it's so just the energy behind it has always been there.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just came out of it out of boredom, really. I just get really bored a lot, and that has to do with, ADHD and not being able to focus, and so I'll obsess on things and make it as intricate as I need it to. And a lot of times I feel like I do myself a disservice, especially if I'm trying to make comics, because people will tell me, Jeremy, why are you spending all this time on this panel? There's only going to be like 30 seconds of actual viewing on this page. And people are just going to read it, kind of glance at it, and then move on. And I'm like, but that's not how I enjoy comics. Like I'll just pine over every panel. And so like, if you have like the talking head panels and there's nothing in the background for me to kind of stare off into, you're going to lose my attention and I'm not going to soak it in as much. And I don't think those books feel as good as the ones that I can believe the world. And so I feel like when I do my panels, like you've got this very marbly pillar with the flags, and then like it's like all this architecture, and I can go through it and go down the street and imagine what all these buildings are, and like all the different shops, or maybe this is like Wall Street, and that's the financial district, and this is just me guessing, knowing nothing, right? And so right. I appreciate that. And then I see right here we've got like a graph, and that's telling me that maybe my guess over that it is Wall Street. That's right. And those kind of things, like I love all those details.
Yeah, I had definitely lucked out. My friend, like I met the artist, the penciler on this issue. I'm gonna be the artist ongoing with issue 2 on. But my friend Rich Fuchsia helped me out and did the pencils to the first issue. He's gotten into painting and more fine art, but it's a foundation for me to work from, because I've been an anchor all my career, and I've only dabbled in penciling on the side. It really gives me a good sense of like what my book should look like, and we'll see how it evolves over time. But I'm more confident with my art now. So, but I mean, we started this book back in 2009, and it's like I pretty much worked full time. So it's like as I could do things, I did it on the side. It's become more in the forefront of my career now, because I'm really intent on getting this issue out and it becoming a regular thing. So definitely, wrapping up the ink soon, and I'll be coloring the book, and I'll be coloring it in pretty much an 80s style coloring.
Gotcha.
Because that's like, it's definitely like the inspiration of the character is like the 60s to the 90s, more 60s, 70s, 80s. And it's like I got a lot of ideas like you. It's like I got such a universe of ideas. And Lisa's in the chat.
I had to go to the chat. It's very difficult to have both our mics on right now, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
If somebody has a question for me, or Jeremy wants me to jump in, but I'm kind of just floating here, and you can talk to me in the chat.
Yes, and Lisa knows also. She'll definitely answer your questions. So yeah, like, I usually go about an hour. We get another 10 minutes or so. Like, how happy are you, like, with your writing and your art right now? Like, where do you stand on just you yourself, the quality of your work, what you think you should be hitting, like as far as marks in your career, like, have
I
you
think I have a
achieved all
pretty
you
good.
want to?
I haven't
Yeah.
achieved all I want to right now, but this is part of it. Like I hate public speaking. I hate uh, talking good about myself because I don't know. It might be like the Midwest mindset where put your head down, you slave away in a factory, or you work on a farm, and it's just work, 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 and then you help your community by working through the economy and this, that, and the other thing. And so it's either automotive industry or agriculture here in Michigan with a lot of retail, but that's everywhere. And so it's
Right.
always been this mindset that this is what you do. You work your 40 hours, you get your overtime, uh, you retire, you get your pension, you get off work after your years at Ford, GM, and all that kind of stuff. But they end up it. I have a lot to say about the auto industry and stuff, but this is not the place. Be it being from Metro Detroit, growing up outside of Detroit, and watching a lot of this stuff happen, and I have a lot of opinions, but I'm getting way off base. But I feel like the things that I want to do, I I have a lot of big dreams, and I'm really trying to step outside of my shell to try to achieve those dreams. And one of them is to get this series funded. I want more eyes on it. I want to get the community for this series and this property, and hopefully our other books, because I love those books as well. Stylistically, I think I'm at a good 85% of exactly what I want. So 85, 90%, somewhere in between. Uh,
Right.
and I feel like it could be buttoned up a little bit better. But as of right now, I'm really happy with the mix of the painting that I'm doing, plus a little bit of this like half painting cell shade kind of thing. I don't know. It's just all my influences mashed up together. So like cell painting and animation, the backgrounds are all acrylics, sometimes oils, sometimes watercolor. And so I always try to make my backgrounds feel like that nowadays, because
Right.
visually that kind of turns me on, like that kind of look. It always, if I see art like that where it's got really nice painted backgrounds and you've got that textural difference between the background and the environment and the foreground, there's something about that has always lit my brain on fire. And as far as story goes, I think this story, it's too good to be true that I get to do it. I don't like to talk much. I'm not very prideful or vain in the sense that I will go out and tell people that I'm awesome or whatever. I'm very uh, sometimes confused that when people are like, "Man, this art is so awesome," and I'm like, "I've lived with this art for my whole life, and I've seen it from me being 8 years old trying to scribble a Ninja Turtle on some line paper to what I do now, and it doesn't feel any different. You know what I mean? It feels still clumsy, and it feels new, and it feels like you never know what you're doing ever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I always second guess everything. There's not enough of that Bill Watterson confidence in my work, I don't think yet, because I'll sit there and I will rework all the blue lines and then the trying to trace the best out of like 5 scribbles of a circle that I did. I just want to be able to go in and maybe just uh, take ink and just go in and make something really rad. But
Yeah.
but but the story wise, I think I lucked out, and I feel like these characters ended up taking a life of their own and writing this story for me, and I'm just watching it unfold, and it's really crazy. not as crazy as my actual life has been, but a lot of the things that happened in my life have inspired some of the craziness in this book.
Right. Well, I mean, I hope things are all okay.
Oh, yeah,
I'll say that much.
everything
Yeah.
everything's pretty awesome right now. I mean, other than the other day, yesterday or 2 days ago, I can't remember. It's been kind of all running into each other at the countdown of this Kickstarter. It's
Right.
just been stress, and what day is it? And but yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was yesterday. I think it was last night that a house in Flint blew up, and people could feel it for like 3 cities over, and so that was exciting. It was
Geez.
2.5 miles away from my house, and we felt our house shake, and people in different cities felt their house shake, and it was kind of like war zone. What's going on? And then you read and you find that stuff out, and so it's just been interesting stuff like that, and witnessing stuff like that firsthand and live, and just things that are just a little out of the ordinary for a random person to live through, I guess.
Yeah. Since the pandemic, I've been, it's like there were times that I was listening to news all the time, but that never does you any good. And right now, I'm just on a kick not to pretty much listen to news, although I hear bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, it's so depressing.
I think I'm getting deeper and deeper into my work lately, and that really calms me.
Yeah.
Just because the world is more and more insane, and frankly, it's depressing for the most part, and really doesn't serve anybody.
And that's another thing I like about this story is even though it's called I'm So Goth, it's not your typical goth story. It's not your typical, I hate life and everything's depressing and everything's sad. It's these characters have this story that needs to be told, and they just happen to be goth. But
right.
Once the story's said and done, you'll understand what the title of the book actually means. It might not mean what you think it means. So I'm interested for when that happens and to have those discussions. There's so much about this book I want to spoil, and there's so much more things that I want to tell everybody, because if they knew half the stuff that's going to come up and happen, I feel like it would be an easier sell for the book, and more people that aren't in the subculture would just be like, what? That sounds Fruit Loops bananas. I need to buy it. I can't wait to get it all done and it's all set and complete. And, I had this, I guess, delusion of grandeur the other day where I'm like, you know what? I honestly feel like if I do this right, if I articulate what I want it to be, what's in my head, if I can get that on paper and in print, I think it might be award worthy. And I say that, and I feel like such a shit thinking that, because I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I've really impressed myself with this, and it makes me want to cry sometimes. How awesome! I can't believe I thought of this, and I can't wait for people to see that. And so I'm chomping at the bit. I need to get it done. These people need to read it because I want to know if it's as awesome as I think it is.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing about creating is it does take on a life of its own, and it almost seems like, if I sat down and tried to think of this, I would have never thought of it in a million years. It's kind of just speedballs into something bigger and better,
Yeah. That's the hope. That's the only hope, is it gets seen by the people that will appreciate it the most. And that's been hard for me to find because I'm not very social, and it takes me a long time to warm up to things. And there's been a lot of shows that I've been invited on, and I'll go into the little backstage area and I'll just have to get out of there because of my anxiety. It gets so bad. And I don't know, like I don't want that to hamper the success of this story. So I kind of,
Right.
I don't know, have to walk across the coal here. It might be hot, but on the other end of this thing, it's going to be, there's an awesome like foot pool over there, and there's going to be massages, and they're going to re-heal my feet after I walk on these coals. But man, kind of sucks for a hot minute.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I've read interviews, I've seen interviews, and I always find it interesting to hear from the creator himself, like what's behind the creation of this, what's about the art, what about the writing, what about what were you eating that afternoon when you created that page, whatever.
See, I think another thing that for me is I have a weird selective memory. When I was 12, I was hit by a car when I was walking home from school one day. And ever since that day, like my memory has been kind of spotty. So anything like this is kind of miraculous that, I don't know if I'd be able to say what I had for dinner like 2 days ago. So like when you're like, what were you eating when you were making this page? I'm like, man, I don't even know what I had for breakfast.
Did I eat yet? I forget.
Right. And if it wasn't for Lisa, I probably would never eat. When we got together back in the infancy of our relationship, I was a heavy smoker. I don't smoke anymore, but I would smoke at least a pack, maybe a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. And it was pretty just chain smoking at my desk in Photoshop, just kind of surrounded by soda cans, and that was my diet. I had nicotine and soda, and I say soda because I was raised by Southern parents from Arkansas, and I'm in Michigan, and everybody calls it pop, and like every time I hear it, it just drives me nuts. Like my brain just, I can't handle the word pop, and I'm probably gonna lose like a Michigan card or something like that, but they're gonna deport me.
Oh no.
But yeah, that was the diet until she came along and she introduced me to actual flavor and food. It was like It was like I was an explorer on a boat, and I went to the land of Lisa, and she showed me all the wonderful delicacies of her culture, and I love it. And
good culture,
Polish culture,
same difference.
Well, definitely, I was on Global Frequency last night, and she came on and just talking about this book and all your other creations. She's definitely a great spokesperson for your books and your company, and you can do a lot worse for sure.
No, she's awesome. Lisa is the best. Like I trust her with everything, and there's sometimes where I feel like the way I'm feeling is probably going to be detrimental to the books or the comics. And I feel like sometimes I'll let my neurodivergency get in the way, and I will act weird, or I'll make people uncomfortable or something like. And I worry about those kind of things. And then so I'm just like, I got to sit this one out because I want to give the best to these books. I want them to be able to live the best life that they can. And I don't want to deter people because of me being weird. And that's part of, the book itself. But I don't know. It's just, I guess, a societal thing where I feel like I got to put my best face on. And if I'm not wearing my best business face, then nobody's going to want to do business with me or, check out my book or whatever. And then so I let those insecurities kind of rule. And,
right.
but I'm very super elated that Lisa doesn't mind taking on this, because I like, so being social is really hard.
Yeah. But it's like I've met plenty of creators, and like, the world is a lot more sensitive and PC now, and but I've had great experiences. I had not so great experiences, but I don't take any of them personally, and it's, for me, it's like, okay, so like I was at a convention once and I saw Jim Stalin. I think Jim Stalin is amazing. His work is amazing. He's created, such a rich history within the books he's done. And I saw him, and to me, that was enough. It's like, I don't have to walk up to him. I don't have to act like an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, some people I want to meet and want to go up and shake the hands. And, it's like, it's different for every creator, name I recognize. Like, it depends on my mood too and whatever. But like, I never get a bad experience to where it affects what I think about their work. And that's
Right.
what I'm trying to say here. It's like, it's, everything is a plus. Everything's an addition to what I already think about their work. It's like, so I had a bad experience. I laugh about it with me and my friends. It's like, oh, that was funny. They completely ignored you, whatever.
Mhm.
But so if for anybody listening that's like a new creator, what kind of tips would you give to somebody who wants to make their own book like you have here?
If it doesn't speak to you in some way, if you cannot see the story, if you're a writer, or you're like the full-on creator like myself of this title that's on the Kickstarter right now, I'm So Goth. If you don't see the story unfold in front of you, I think maybe you're trying too hard to sell an idea that you don't fully believe in. So it has to feel right. It has to feel organic. If not, then it might feel like a struggle the whole time. At least it did for me. And if, I don't know, if you're just out for the money, there are easier ways to make money, believe me. And
I can attest to that.
yeah. And I don't know, don't give up. Keep trying. If it's something you really believe in, if you really want it, do it. Because I didn't even think I'd be here on this show talking with you guys right now. Like, this is something that I don't think about normally doing, and I want it. I want it bad, man. And so I'm here. I'm here talking. And like, Peter, you've been trying to get me to do shows for I don't know how long. And I'm like,
I tend to push people. Yeah.
And then so it's time, man. I'm not trying to give it my whole self, put my whole self into this thing.
Yeah. No, man, that's great. And that, like what you're saying is that, like with your books and creations, that you believe in it, you believe what you're doing is the right thing to do, and the stories you're trying to tell, and you want to get the word out. I mean, that's really the main thing. And it's like I already know that you have an audience, and for you to be as successful as you need to be as an independent indie creator out there, you need to push more books, and definitely, like, I'll do my part, and we got other people doing their part, and you're going on to Pops tomorrow, and I think you'll find there's a lot more creators out there that want to do this, that there's a whole network of people that are trying to do their own thing like yourself, but also trying to get the word out on other people's creations, because word of mouth is everything, man.
Yeah, it really is.
If we didn't have that, none of us would be selling any books.
Yeah, and one of the first things that I really enjoyed as a child, growing up during the 80s, I was born in 82. And so I lived my childhood through the 80s. And I really loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, that blew up for me during a time of like Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and that kind of, like, Ninja Turtles. That was my stuff. And if Eastman and Laird did not have the word of mouth that they had, like, I would not be in this industry at all. Like, if not for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and that indie book, like, it's insane what can happen in this industry with titles. But that is like almost a perfect example of what word of mouth can do for an indie title.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, yeah, it's like the Turtles is its own industry now, between the cartoons, the movies, the comics, the bed sheets, whatever.
Yeah.
Action figures. Everything.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't want to get that big, but like I do have a fondness for the toys and all the like animations and stuff like that. Like, anything like that, man. That was such a
right.
huge thing. Huge.
Right. So I don't know if Lisa wants to come on. Like, we'll close out the show. Like, I do want to mention, like, Crisis Hour is your company name. Do you have a website, Crisis Hour?
Yeah, we got crisishour.net, and
.net?
we did have crisishour.com, but somebody swooped in when it was in between billing and bought it,
man.
and they're trying to sell it back to us for like $6,000, and I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Screw that.
So we have crisishour.net. There we go.
Yeah, and you gotta get a bunch of books there.
Yes,
like I mentioned before. Yeah,
we have Clawberry is one of our IPs. Lisa crafted this story. You want to tell a little bit about Clawberry?
Yeah, sure. Clawberry is an all ages tale. It is the Misadventures of Clawberry and Friends. This book is a part of a 3-book series. This is the Tales from the Compost, where you get to meet a lot of extra side characters. And the 4 characters that make up the main friends are Clawberry, Bookworm, Miggy, and Toei. And yes, Toei is an actual human toe. These stories really center around wanting to connect with the idea that everybody has a right to love who they are and to find a community that accepts them for who they are, and making friends based on the things that make you different rather than the things that make you the same. And so when we told this little tale, it was really for fun, because we have a whole graphic novel concept that's going to be about 180 pages. But these little stories, we wanted to be inspired by something that we both love, which is like spooky campfire tales and things like Are You Afraid of the Dark, and creepy, cute, kawaii things. So we wanted to start there and bring people into the world of Clawberry and Friends in a way that was easy to digest before hitting them with the real heavy heart feels.
Nice. And I love that, like, connecting because of our differences. Like,
Yeah.
my current girlfriend says, "Oh, we're so different," but that's a good thing.
It really is.
I don't want
definite
somebody
things
like me. I'm a lunatic.
Yeah, I think there's things that are fantastic to share with the person in your life, be that a friend, a spouse, significant at all. But the differences are the things that really help you grow together. They're the things that inspire you to become a better person, to reach out across the aisle to them where they stand and grow for each other. Discomfort is the thing that's really easy to become comfortable with. Our own discomforts, the things that we allow ourselves to sit in. And when we realize that it's not comfortable at all, and that the best thing that we can do is to get truly uncomfortable, to do things that we tell ourselves, I would never do that, I would never consider that, especially when it comes to how other people think or feel, that can be a huge benefit into our own growth individually.
Right.
I'm just going to get down off my psychology soapbox. Sorry.
You're so wise.
Thanks.
No, it's great. It's great. So is there anything we haven't covered? Do you want to take a look at the campaign one last time? Anything you guys want to do? I'm down.
I can pull up the campaign one more time and we can just scroll through the pages. Give me just 1 second.
All right. I'm muting Jeremy. No offense. It works better sound-wise.
Okay.
But if you want to speak, raise your
We raise our hand here, sir. Okay. Share that screen. Okay.
Okay.
So this is it. I'm So Goth, issue 1 and 2. It's a slice of life and death. So, I'm So Goth. You get to meet Goth Girl Colette, our first in line protagonist to this story, which is a strange and darkly humorous journey as she is fighting to throw a killer party before her world comes to an end. Her end being that mom says it's time to get a job. To me, this book feels a lot like blending fantasy and reality, and I really enjoy stories like that. There is a lot of what I would call magical realism in this book, but it hits in a 90s animation kind of way, just so it lights me up inside. Jeremy does such a fantastic job with the art in this book and the storytelling. We actually got a comment recently from someone who was looking at the art. I think it was Rich. I can't remember his last name at the time. Rich and Pops. He was saying that he was extremely impressed with the flow of Jeremy's panel work here because there was no question what was happening, so much so that he felt like you didn't even need letters on this page. He felt like it wasn't necessary. It was good enough as it was, and I think that's a really high compliment to Jeremy's capabilities. Plus, one of the fun things that you get to see a lot in our books is we love to do Easter eggs. So you'll see all throughout I'm So Goth, the Berry Bean Buddies, because they're created by Colette's mom. And so they're constantly a part of her life. Even though we don't directly discuss them all the time, they're just always kind of there in the background. But yeah, so these are the first 4 pages of I'm So Goth.
It's beautiful.
Where Colette and Zen are on a trip to get party supplies before Colette's life as she knows it is over. And we have quite a few different tiers. We're down to our last 19 hours. If anybody wants to jump on and pick up a PDF, or we just added PDFs that you can add on as well for all of the other books. That had slipped my mind previously. I am not quite a master at this yet, but I'm going to get there.
Right.
We've got physical packs and we've got an accessories pack, which I think is really cool because you get down here, you get a coffin sticker, you get a 4-pack of buttons now, all different buttons. You get a coffin Zen bookmark. We are also now, since we passed 250 backers, we're doing a Berry Bean Buddies Series 2 trading card set. So there's a lot of really fun things going out to the people that get that accessories tier or higher. And then we still also have a couple of chances to get drawn into the book. So you can see your face here. Woohoo, very exciting. And we have original art pages from the book, which look brilliant. And then the one commission that Jeremy is offering right now. And then a really cool thing that I think we're doing is giving away this variant cover for issue 2 here with Colette. It is 11 by 17 black and white with ink wash, and any backer has the chance of getting it. Doesn't matter if it's digital, doesn't matter if it's a sponsor, it could be yours. And we've unlocked some stretchables already. The next thing we're hoping for is a variant cover, and that's at 1100, so it's 11,000, so it's really not that far away. But we have been blown away by the support from the indie comics community. We got funded yesterday, and we're so excited and it's going to work out, and then went to bed, woke up, and it was not funded, and we had little panic attacks. And then Pops was like, no, don't worry, we're going to be just fine. And he just went and he shared it everywhere, and he gave me all these links to go to, and met a handful of really great other people through the indie comics community recently as well that have just immediately stepped up and, you know, put their arm around our shoulder and said, no, man, we're here, we got you, we're not going to let you fail, this is awesome, you deserve to be creators, people deserve to see your work, this is going to be successful. And it's funny how much having a positive community can really influence how you feel about your own work.
Yeah, no, definitely. Randy in the chat, he said he just backed the Kickstarter. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. We appreciate you.
And I'm seeing in the chat a lot of friends, but I'll tell you, like, they don't come to every show, and something this book interests them. I think you guys are on the right track. You got the pulse. Yeah.
Nice.
So, oh my goodness, Kensuke Okibayashi. Welcome.
That's Jeremy's work.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of my friends pop up today. So this is awesome. But yeah, it's great having you guys on, and I wish you even bigger and bigger success. You know, when you get issue 3 out on crowdfunding, definitely give me a holla. I'll have you on again, definitely. Or you know, we'll do a little talking action figure that will describe the book to people. Who knows what might happen. But yeah, thank you everybody that joined and watched. And if there's nothing else that you guys want to say, we'll
other
close
than
it
we
out.
are so thankful
like
for you having
this.
us here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Like, you know, like, yeah, the second I saw it, it was like, oh, that's interesting. It's only a couple of days away from ending. Oh no.
Yeah.
Panic. But yeah, I'm so glad that you guys passed the goal, and there's so much interest out there, and there's so many people in our community that want to help you get the word out. It's just win-win on both sides of the fence, and it's always a great thing. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Like, comment below, subscribe if you haven't, and go check out the Kickstarter, and make sure to check out their other books as well.